Hello everyone, this is Professor Mehakdeep and I have come with the topic of basics of communication, its types and some barriers. First of all, look at the diagram here. There's a question, what is communication? So communication है क्या? Well, communication plays a vital role in our life. ये बहुत ही important part है हमारी life का. But what it is? So, communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, feelings, and opinions by two or more persons. So, communication एक act है, एक process है जिसमें हम with the help of some words, sounds, signals, behaviors, we usually express our thoughts, ideas to the other person. That is known as communication. So there is another definition. Communication is the verbal interchange of thoughts or ideas. As I said, exchanging our information to the other person, that is known as communication. So there are some types of communication: verbal and non-verbal communication. So in the verbal communication, it is the use of words to share information with other person. इसमें हम वर्ड्स साउंड स्पीच से कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. बेसिकली वी यूजली कन्वे अवर मैसेज टू द अदर पर्सन थ्रू स्पोकन लैंग्वेज, लाइक बोलचाल से कम्युनिकेट करना. सो इट ऑल्सो इंक्लूड्स स्पोकन एंड राइटिंग, एंड apart from it, its modules are speaking, listening, writing and reading. So there are some types of verbal communication. First is oral communication and the second one is written communication. So both plays very important role in this topic. So in the oral communication, there's a face-to-face communication. So when we meet someone and we convey usually our message to the other, that is known as face-to-face communication. And in the video conferencing, voice chats, telephones or mobile phones, it helps us to convey the message to the person who lives far away from us. Like these days, online education, online meetings are held only with the help of video conferencing. So in the written communication, there are some letters, documents, emails, chats. With these written communication, we usually convey our message to the other person formally with the proof. Like written communication ज़्यादातर होता है colleges में, office and companies में. And the next is non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication is a process of communicating ideas or message by not using oral or written language but through facial expression and body languages. इसमें ना हम बोलते हैं ना लिखते हैं, जस्ट इशारों या सिग्नल से हम कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. वी यूजली ट्रांसफर मैसेज विद द हेल्प ऑफ बॉडी लैंग्वेज लाइक आई कॉन्टैक्ट, facial expression, postures and some gestures. So you can look at this diagram. There are some picture, facial expression, touch, body movements, gestures and eye contact. Like these shows the mood and the postures of the person and conveying something. Like in the facial expression, a girl shows her anger mood. While in the touch, so we usually shake hand to the other person when we meet with them in a friendly way. So our body language express something. Apart from it, there are other two types of communication which is related to organization or structure. ये भी next formal और informal communication है, and which is also a very important part. So in the formal communication, it is also known as official communication, which takes place in the organization, and it generally takes place in the written form such as notices, letters, documents and applications, etc. As I already said, formal communication usually offices, companies or education organizations में होती है, and it also shows the proof with the letter. And in the informal communication, people usually communicate casually. Whenever we meet to our friend, we usually meet them in a very friendly way. So we usually communicate our feelings informally. So we usually exchange our information spontaneously between two or more persons. That is known as informal communication. There's some examples like sharing of feelings, casual discussions, and gossipings. After that, there are some features of communication, and the first one is it involves at least two person, a sender and the receiver. जब भी हम कम्युनिकेट करते हैं दो पर्सनस का होना बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. विदाउट टू पर्सनस कम्युनिकेशन इज़ कम्प्लीटली irrelevant. For example, a sender and the receiver is must, and the message is also necessary. And we got to know that communication may be oral, written, or gestural, and it may be formal or informal. And at last, there are some barriers of communication. Barriers like usually we can say archan ana, like obstacles of communication we can say. And the first is outside noises. And for example, if we meet someone and we usually convey our message seriously, or we can say we discuss in a serious topic, and all of a sudden outside noises occur, so this creates problem. And because of noises, the communication can become ineffective. And the next is mentally distraction. When we interrupt someone in the middle of the thought, जब भी हम किसी को एकदम से disturb कर देते हैं, this distract them mentally, because the person would also not able to give proper feedback regarding the communication. Next is ego problem. If a sender is having any ego problem, any personal disputes with the receiver, so this shows the ego problem between them, and because of this the communication can completely break down. Next is poor attention. So poor attention we can say when the person is not interested or not attentive in listening, then this can make communication ineffective. कम्युनिकेशन करने के लिए इंटरेस्ट होना भी बहुत ज़रूरी है. विदाउट एनी इंटरेस्ट अ पर्सन can make the communication ineffective and irrelevant. Next is poor attention. In this poor attention, and as I already said, it is not interest, person is not interested or not attentive. And after that, prejudice or bias. And in this, if a person is having a negative attitude towards the other person, like a sender को कोई प्रॉब्लम है रिसीवर के साथ, and so this can create the communication irrelevant completely. So this is the topic of communication, some basics of communication, its types and barriers. So I hope you would understand this topic in a very clear way. So thank you so much.